The COVID-19 pandemic is intensifying the human security challenges that we all face, while also creating an environment where traditional and hardcore security challenges are amplified. The pandemic has been a catalyst for underlying risk trends, with many countries facing sharply deteriorating political, security, criminal, and governance situations. It should also be noted that environmental events such as the desert locust invasion in the wider East African region and the floods in the Horn of Africa region have also exacerbated the dire impacts of this pandemic. These two natural disasters have occasioned a severe reduction in food production. More recently, the oil spill and the accompanying serious environmental implications in the coastal areas of southeast Mauritius, together with the floods and desert locust situations, have shown that even as nations address COVID-19, many must also contend with other humanitarian, environmental, and security challenges. But these challenges have made an already difficult situation even worse and have outstretched resources to breaking point. It is also worth noting that the containment measures taken to limit the spread of COVID-19 and the flattening of the curve have also had serious adverse socio-economic effects. Lockdowns and a slowdown of economies locally and globally is likely to bear a heavier toll on the world's most vulnerable, who have less savings, insulation, and agility against the attendant depressed incomes and reduced purchasing power. It is therefore my hope that we will identify and propose workable solutions to fill the gaps in pandemic response capacities and exchange views on the emerging security threats and opportunities, as well as opportunities associated with the pandemic. The pandemic has impacted regional and global peace and security efforts due to the fact that attention is increasingly being devoted to domestic and national pandemic response efforts and diverted from peace and security spheres. The pandemic has also disrupted diplomatic efforts towards regional crisis management and conflict resolution endeavors, thereby creating the potential for escalating tensions and the reversal of the gains made over the years in peace building. The pandemic, coupled with the globalization of terrorism and violent extremism, has posed an even greater threat to international peace and security. Several countries continue to experience protracted armed conflict, including from activities by non-state armed groups, as well as a marked humanitarian crisis, often with a significant trans-border and global dimension, as well as facing the ever-present threats of terrorism. There has also emerged an even greater need to safeguard vulnerable populations from recruitment in the midst of shifts in food insecurity, unemployment, the cyber environment, and education. As countries focus intensely in combating the pandemic, it has become increasingly vital to espouse a broader security paradigm to ensure that the focus on the pandemic is not creating room and avenues that belligerent actors can exploit to further outrageous agenda. The recent incursions, for example, in northern Mozambique by Islamic insurgents and the capture of the port of Mocoba de Praia and Cabo Delgado province in August, is a reminder that even as we battle the pandemic, those who seek to foil peace for violent, aggressive interests remain active. Many African governments have directed their limited resources towards COVID-19 pandemic response measures at the expense of the fight also against other diseases such as malaria, malnutrition, tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS. The pandemic will undoubtedly consume further resources meant for development programs, risking reversing decades of progress in the fight against poverty and inequality. Therefore, the need for shared interventions and responsibility towards peaceful, equitable, sustainable societies is greater now than ever before. Your Excellencies, the push for technical assistance, capacity building, and enhanced coordination to strengthen global counterterrorism capacities, including through the Counterterrorism Committee, the Office of Counterterrorism, and other UN entities, the African Union, regional economic communities, and other mechanisms are key to building appropriate and harmonized actions. Kenya hopes and aims to provide leadership in the Horn of Africa by exploring and implementing diplomatic measures in counterterrorism financing and to work with partners in the broader spectrum of efforts within counterterrorism, as well as to stem other forms of transnational organized crime. Through Kenya's non-permanent member seat at the United Nations Security Council, Kenya further aims to contribute to global peace and security, with the ultimate goal being the attainment of sustainable development for the year 2021 to 2022, and our nation acknowledges that peace and security challenges do not respect geographical boundaries. Nevertheless, we will continue to partner with you, Your Majesty, and all actors to ensure that all urgent measures are taken as we move along to battle the pandemic, to also ensure that we curb acts of terrorism and other forms of violent extremism as becomes necessary.